Hi, it's Paula from Pola Quilting. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to another project using my magic numbers pre-cuts, but obviously you can use any scraps you've got in your sewing room, and I will walk you through what you need. Now this pattern kind of calls for two type of the blocks, but each of the block is made from the same sections into color combination, let's say that way, which I will walk you through it as well. So if you have some magic numbers pre-cuts already, then obviously you're halfway there. If not, you will need to cut some of your fabrics. I am using quite a lot of 2.5 inch strips here in different lengths, so if you have some jelly rolls, that will be a good project as well. And then pull out any other scraps you would like to cut to it. I'm using also some scraps sewn on the adding tape. I had some with made with some solid colors, as you can see, so I'm using that, but you could obviously use any adding tape color combinations you've got. If you do not have adding tape or you don't like to sew on the adding tape, what you can do is just sew some your wonky strips, something leftovers you've got in those sections, and I will tell you how big they need to be as well. So like I've mentioned, we have two types of the blocks made from the same sections. Sections are in two colors combinations. So I'm starting with what I would call a bright one. Bright one is because the frame of it will be with the brighter fabric, like you can see here. And I'm making two at the time, two of those sections at the time. So what you will need is two 6.5 inch squares of background bright fabric. One strip of 2.5 by 6.5. I will be cutting it into half in the middle, and I will use just half of it for this for those two sections I'm making. So you can use the other half in another lot. Two 2.5 by 4.5 rectangles in the bright fabric. I will be using actually wrong side as a right side because I want it to be a little bit blunter. Like I want more contrast here, so that's that. And then 4 pieces of some darker colors, and I've got 2 pairs here. If you don't have enough to make 2 pairs of each, just put them in the same color family. So if I've got green, I could have a different green, like this green will be fine as well to go pair with it. Just keep them in the color combination, it doesn't have to be the same fabric. And then those 2 pairs, because they are 2 different sections, they don't have to be the same, they can be 2 different colors. And then our string piece, so this needs to be cut to 5.25 by 2.75. So that's the dimension for those, and I need those 2 of those as well, because like I said, we're making 2 sections at the time. This pattern comes with full written pattern as well, available on my website, where I'm going through all of those things again, and you will have sizes for the brighter sections and then darker sections, and the 2 block combinations to come with it as well. So everything will be there. It's available on my website, and the link will be in the comment below. So first, a little bit of cutting. So like I've mentioned, for this 6.5 piece by 2.5, I just need to cut it into half, which will be 1.25. So obviously this second piece can go to another batch of the blocks later. Then all of those 2.5 by 4.5 needs to be cut again in the middle to 1.25. And you can stack them or you can trim them individually, whatever you feel comfortable doing. So we are ready with those pieces as well. And this I cut from the bigger piece of the adding tape, and you can see kind of some of it unravels here with when I cut on the seams, so just I will trim it off. But again, if you don't want to use adding tape, just sew some scraps you've got. Doesn't have to be a solid, it can be anything you have, just make it colorful. That's what you're going after. So to start off, I will do some chain piecing here. So those 2 squares and this rectangle I want to sew together here. Nothing complicated, I can take it in the machine. And then for chain piecing, I will start by taking my colorful pieces, which will be on the side, and my kind of background fabric, the bright background, will be in the middle, and I will sew it like this, all of them in kind of those 3 sections together, 3 strips together needs to be sewn as well. Everywhere we're using a 1/4 inch allowance. So all of the pieces are sewn, so this is the main piece here, the big one. I will take it to the iron and iron it, and always iron to the dark side. Whether it's the bright section or dark section, always iron all of the seams here to the dark side. Same goes with those smaller pieces. Iron seams to the dark side, and kind of that will fit later with the rest of the project. So this needs to be nicely ironed, all of those pieces needs to be nicely ironed, and we'll be ready for the next step. Okay, now that we've got everything ironed, I need to do some more cutting. So this is 6.5 inch wide, and I only need 6 inches because we'll be slicing this now to 1.5 inch, kind of 4 slices. So I can start by just making that edge here nice and straight. There's, you know, always a little bit imperfection there, so I can just nicely even it out. And now I'm ready to cut it. So I will first cut 6 inches. If you have 6 inches ruler, you can do that. If you don't, then obviously you can go straight away into cutting that piece into 1.5 inches, but I will just do that. So 6 inches here first, and then into 3, and then both of them into 1.5. But again, how you cut it, it's up to you, no matter here. You just want to end up at the end with 4 1.5 inch slices. Okay, and pretty much we're ready to put those 2 blocks kind of in the sections how they will look now. So that's for one section, that's for second section. Let's start with one. So this is our frame, so that's what I was saying, this is the bright section because I'm going with the background of the frame. Then you will put your stripy piece in the middle, and then you will choose 2 of the pieces of one of the colors of the pearls you've made, and you put them on the sides. And that's pretty much the section is ready. So I will sew first those 2 pieces together. You may like to take it to the iron to make it nice and flat. This seam here will go kind of outwards because it's quite thick with all of that paper here. It's kind of laced that way naturally, but if you're using fabric, seams here are irrelevant. They can go either direction you like. So those 2 pieces together first, and then I will add the frame, and our section will be ready. So before we carry on with the project, let's just round up where you can find me and how you can support my work. First of all, please subscribe to my channel and watch videos as I'm posting them without skipping the adverts, please. Please comment against the videos because that helps to push them out to wider audience, and don't forget to share with your quilting friends. Join my network either on Facebook or Instagram. All the links how and where are in the description below. Where you see my posts either on Facebook or Instagram, please like, share and comment on them. If you like to add something extra, I've got now membership available through the YouTube. You can also use a super thanks on YouTube or buy me a virtual tea, coffee or lunch using a form on my website. You can also support me by subscribing to my newsletter via my website. That will help me to notify you when I publish new videos or blog posts, or maybe there are some items available to purchase on my website. However you decide to support this channel, thank you very much for being here, and I hope you enjoy the content. So here is one of the brighter sections I have made before. This is how it looks. And so for the block A, I need 2 bright and 1 dark section. So this is the dark section. It's done exactly the same way. It's just where I was using brighter colors here on the bright section, I've got darker colors. Where I was using darker colors here, I'm using brighter colors there. So the colors works other way around. And then obviously in the middle I still got my stripy bit as usual. So for the block A, I need 2 bright sections and 1 dark, and I will sew it all together. For the block B, I need 2 darker sections and 1 bright, so bright goes in the middle. So when you're sewing those 3 sections together, what you want to do is center on those small pieces in the middle. If you always ironing towards the dark, you will be able to nest them. So just go here, align that bit first, and then see where you need to start and end. Same with this one. So when you put those three together, they are gonna have that line here quite even. Now it may be that the sides are going to be a little bit rugged, so don't worry about it. Just align as much as you can that middle. Don't worry about being it perfect either, because once you wash your quilt after you've done it, it will all kind of shift a little bit anyway. But if you can, you want to align that middle strip here. So this is one of the darker blocks finished. So I've aligned here as much as I could. Those two maybe not necessarily aligning with anything else, but that's fine. If your 1/4 inches are perfect, you would have that block 13 1/4 here and 13 1/4 here, but my seams aren't. So after I've aligned those pieces here in the middle and I've sewn it into section of 3, I actually squared up this block to 13 inches. When you're squaring up this block, you want to start from the tidying up most rugged edge first. So align the top and the bottom against your mat and trim as little as possible on that kind of most rugged edge, and then you can align the other side and trim as well, just to make sure you're keeping the 13 inches mark. Then you can turn around the block, align the top and bottom, which is now squared up, and kind of have a look at your sides here. If they are nice and straight, just use one side to trim to 13 inches. If they're a little bit wonky on both sides, then center it and trim a little bit on both sides. If you cannot make 13 inches, square it up even more. 12 3/4 will be fine as well. It will just depend how your seam allowances kind of work together and how they will look when you put the block together. So all of the quilt is a combination of the block A and block B, and I'm turning them as I'm sewing them together to kind of add even more movement. As you can see, it's very scrappy block, but it kind of gives you that additional movement with all of those straps coming both directions. Now I, as usual, had the problem how to name this block or the kind of the section, which then makes a bigger block, and I did reach out to my Facebook group team, and I have lots of very good names coming in from the team, but obviously I can only use one. There were a few that repeated, so I thought maybe one of those would be the best for this block, and I've called it racing cars. So as you can see it now on the design, but when you put it together, people thought that it reminds them racing cars kind of lined up for the start. So thank you very much again to all of the people who kind of voted the names for this block. All of the suggestions are much appreciated. I even wrote down some for the further use, maybe for some other designs. As mentioned, this pattern is available on my website as a PDF pattern with full instructions, with full guidance on how to sew it together. Please let me know in the comments below how you like this block, whether you think you will try it, and I look forward to see them on my Facebook or Instagram. Please do not forget to tag me in your post if you're using my patterns. I really like looking at those. Any questions? Also, please leave them in the comments. I will come back to you as soon as possible. Thank you very much for watching me today, and see you next time.